words. By themselves, they don't have any intrinsic meaning or value. By you watching this right now, all that's actually happening is your device is sending a charge to a coil which vibrates a composite paper, making a sound wave which small hairs in your ear are picking up. But by that process happening, I'm able to think something and you're able to understand it. I can say car and you know that I'm talking about a motorized vehicle, typically with 4 wheels, despite me never physically displaying to you a car. This is because you and I, by taking part in English-speaking society, have agreed that when we hear or see the word car, we are talking about said vehicle. If we have a disagreement about what the word is describing, then the word is useless. We have to use more words to explain and describe the same thing. Words can change as society changes, but that requires people to agree with the change, because if they don't, there's another communication problem. There are also words which only have meaning to people in groups called jargon. This helps professionals discuss complex things without everyone needing to know what the word means. Now, I want you to stop for a few seconds and think about whether or not you agree with what I've just said. If not, the rest of this may not be for you, but if it does, try keep that in mind when discussing one of the hot button political topics, transgenderism, and more specifically the issue of gender and pronouns. There are a few different sides to this argument, whom all seem like they don't fully understand what the other side is arguing. The main ones I have managed to identify are some who think that there are only 2 genders, male and female, and you can't change between the two, others who think you can, another group who thinks that there are many genders, and finally, people who think gender is just a social construct. There are almost definitely many more groups, and these groups probably have their own nuances and thought, but hopefully I can still sufficiently explain my point. From where I see, the problem is a lack of communication in the way people are using words. So my understanding of the groups are as follows. The people who think there are only 2 genders and think you can't change your gender are using the words sex and gender synonymously, and is typically in reference to the chromosomal level. The people who think there are only 2 genders but you can change are talking about self-identification, but still acknowledging there is a genetic difference between the two on a chromosomal level. And then there are the last 2 who often get instantly dismissed because on the surface they seem like they deny science and basic human instinct, mostly because their argument does not use gender and sex as the same word. The argument that gender is just a social construct I don't see as having much merit, as many studies have shown things like muscle mass is greater in men than women. But the gender fluid argument is not as illogical when looking into it. The claim is that gender is something that is fluid, and someone can have more masculine traits by acting more macho or more feminine, like empathy. This is a point that I think everyone would agree on. As a skinny white boy, I have met plenty of women who have more masculine traits than I, and I will have more feminine traits than some women. The problem is that despite me acting more feminine than some females, I would still make the claim that I'm a man, and the macho female would still claim to be a woman, and by extension someone who would claim to be a woman would use she, her pronouns. Now, a demigirl is a non-binary gender that someone would claim to be if they felt an association with the female gender but do not go all the way. They might be a female who does not completely feel like a woman for any number of reasons, such as not feeling natural care for babies and children. So why would I talk about words and then gender? Because I think the problem with gender is about words, not science, not policy, but the raw words that we use to convey meaning. Because we disagree on the meaning of certain words, it makes talking about those things that much more difficult. So when I ask what someone's gender is, I am only talking about the chromosomal level, not because the specific chromosomes are important to me, but because I can more reliably predict certain aspects of a person based on that combined with other information. This is especially important for women though, as the likelihood of a woman sexually assaulting them is ignorable compared to a man. The problem dissipates as you get to know a person, as rather than having to assume characteristics of them, you get to know exactly who they are as a human. One might then make the claim that these new pronouns assist with that process. I would say it leads to more confusion, as it is probably more incorrect than it is correct, as people's perception of others can wildly vary from person to person. Also, ever since I can remember, these changes between 2 people that are not objective, like height, age and sex, I have called personality. Enjoy playing video games? That's just who you are. Like the colour pink? That's different from me, but in the same way that you might prefer satin over denim. It is just what makes you you. And if that's what gender is, then there has to be a single gender for every person. And similar to political alignment, it might be a basic way of explaining who you are, but it's far from comprehensive, as it does not explain hobbies, favourite colour value systems, or way of relating to other people. There is also the basic fact that no matter what gender you feel like, You can only make babies when combined with the opposite sex. Finally, Klinefelter syndrome, or intersex, is where people have both body parts, which 0.2% of people are affected with. This is when someone is born with one Y and two X chromosomes and can affect the way a person feels, acts, and is biologically. This is a good example of a new word created to serve the purpose of explaining a thing that current nomenclature does not cover. Where I'm stuck is the bathroom issue. If you saw Blair White walk into a male bathroom without knowing them, you might be uncomfortable, despite them going into the bathroom which aligns with their chromosomes. But if they go into the bathroom which they are comfortable with, then a biological male is using a female bathroom. If you're okay with that, then what happens if there is a woman who just happens to look like a man? Should we be profiling them based on looks? One proposed way of fixing this predicament is to allow people to go into whatever bathroom they're comfortable with, which is entirely subjective and allows people to use these bathrooms however they please, removing the entire reason for having separate bathrooms. The only proper fix is to have individual or unisex bathrooms, which would require a large investment from both businesses for their own establishment and local government for public bathrooms. I still haven't fully refined my opinions on these topics, so any objection or argument either way would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for your attention.